All right. Are you aware that meth is making a big comeback?
Oh, yeah. Huge comeback. Meth is like, or I don't know about other states, but around here, especially like really locally around here, it is a big time problem.
Okay. Well, we covered this for the last few years that heroin was a huge problem.
Sure.
Now meth is making a big resurgence.
Breaking Bad glamorized it.
It didn't go anywhere. It's just that it's making a resurgence.
Don't you think that? See, I'm being serious. Don't you think that the popularity of Breaking Bad made people start making meth again?
Could be. If you're looking from the financial gain angle, and not so much the user angle,
yeah,
I might agree with that.
Yeah, but drug addicts will do anything that'll get them high.
Well, true. But my point is that you're using the analogy of Breaking Bad.
Yeah, well, I'm saying more people are. Meth is so much cheaper.
It is, and we'll get into that. But where I'm going with this is that you have to have a consumer.
Oh, sure.
In order to make your meth, venture profitable.
Sure.
So if people are not doing meth, no matter how much you make, you're not going to profit from that.
Yeah, I mean, you got to be a drug dealer, but meth is the deal is that meth costs you less to buy than Coke.
True.
So that's why it's you can get high as a user, you can get high without having to spend a shit ton of money, and as a whatchamacallit, a dealer, you can make the product yourself and not even have to go anywhere to get it.
That is true.
But that being said, I'll tell you what would scare me. If I was in the drug dealing business, the thought of that fucking room blowing up, which a lot of them seem to do, that would scare me away from making meth.
Yeah, of course.
That's just fucking scary there.
Mm-hmm. Well, anyway, meth is making a comeback. It's purer, cheaper, and more lethal.
I believe it.
25 years after Congress took aggressive action to curtail it, meth has returned with a vengeance.
Wow.
At the U.S. border, agents are seizing 10 to 20 times the amount they did a decade ago.
Wow.
Methamphetamine experts say it has never been purer, cheaper, or more lethal. Portland, Oregon.
Look at that fucking meme. The one with Mr. Fring, not with Mark St. John.
Yeah.
That's funny.
Fried chicken and meth.
It's funny.
Is that picture really of Mark St. John?
I don't know. I don't know. I don't know that I've ever seen Mark St. John.
I met him once.
Do you look like that?
Not like that. That guy looks horrific.
Well, he did die.
He did die.
Maybe you met him shortly before death.
Yeah, he looked healthy when I met him.
Well, maybe it was 6 or 7 days before that photo was taken.
I met him and both he and Bill Aucoin at the same time.
Wow. And now they're both dead kiss people.
Yeah, they are. They're both dead. All right.
Tragic.
Portland, Oregon. They huddled against the bitter, biting wind, pacing from one corner to another, hoping to score heroin or pills. But a different drug was far more likely to be on the offer outside of the train station downtown, where homeless drug users live in tents pitched on the sidewalk.
Oh, diet pills?
Yeah, I'm afraid so.
Oh, okay.
Everybody has meth around here. Everybody, said Sean, a 27-year-old heroin user who hangs out downtown and gave only his first name. It's the easiest to find.
Sure.
Beside him stood Eric, a former competitive dancer, whose face was marked with dark red sores suggesting heavy drug use. He said he too preferred heroin, but would probably settle for what is commonly called ice. Mm-hmm. It was cheap, and better yet, it was on hand. The scourge of crystal meth, with its exploding labs, which you just mentioned, and ruinous effect on teeth and skin, has been all but forgotten amid national concerns over the opioid crisis. But 12 years after Congress took aggressive action to curtail it, meth has returned with a vengeance. In Oregon, meth-related deaths vastly outnumber those from heroin.
All right, who just posted this? Phil Ooze, Jesus fucking Christ, where do you find this shit? Is he literally snorting? What is he snorting? Coke off that black guy's dick?
Yeah, he's snorting something off that guy's dick.
Jesus. That's just not right. Phil, I would hate to be there when the authorities come and fucking confiscate your computer. You telling them it was only a joke isn't going to fly, pal.
Look at Demon. When you try to draw your eyebrows on, but all that meth makes you twitchy.
That's funny.
Wow. Anyway, getting back to the story.
Yeah.
At the U.S. border, agents are seizing 10 to 20 times the amounts they did a decade ago.
Right.
Oregon took a hard line against meth in 2006 when it began requiring a doctor's prescription to buy the nasal decongestant used to make it. That is, if you buy stuff like Advil, cold and sinus and stuff.
Right.
Which all went behind the counter.
Sure.
Have you ever tried to buy any of that? You know, anything from like Sudafed to Advil, cold and sinus to, you know, any kind of nasal decongestant that you used to buy on the shelf. You have to show your driver's license and you have to sign for it and all this other bullshit.
Yeah, I'm not doing that.
That's ridiculous.
I mean, they still sell the nasal drops, which is all I need.
Yeah, but it's not the drug that's in the nasal decongestant that you would find in like Advil, cold and sinus.
No, I don't take any of that.
Yeah, I used to because it worked.
Yeah.
And but then it went behind the counter and you had to go through this whole rigmarole, and then they'd only sell you this one little box.
Yeah.
You know, they limit you to one little, you know, like 12 pills or something.
Right.
Which you take one or two at a time. It's only good for like 3 to 5 days.
Yeah, that's not. It's not worth the hassle. It's really not. So then what? Then you go what? Drugstore shopping? So you go to like 3 stores?
No, you can't do that because your license gets scanned, and it goes into the system, some centralized system, and they go, "Hey, weren't you just down at the Walgreens?"
Oh, I see. We were talking about this earlier. Somebody was asking me why I'm not taking pain meds for my back. It's I'm such an aholic that if I start taking pain meds, I will just fucking go off the deep end.
Yeah. But even something that I used to buy it right off the shelf. Well, there's a ingredient in that they use to make meth out of. So
I don't know. Is that everywhere? I don't, because I would swear they have like Sudafed and stuff on the shelf here.
If it doesn't have the decongestant in it, you can buy it on the shelf. But if it has that, I don't know what the name of the decongestant is, but if it has that ingredient in it, then you have to get it at the counter.
Yeah. News to me. I've not had that problem. But it's not prescription, but you just have to get it from the pharmacist.
Yeah, because they limit how many you can buy.
Oh, unaware.
Yeah.
Wow, did not know.
So when this all started, 10 years ago or so, when they started putting it behind the counter, and I knew what the reason was, and I was kind of put out about the whole thing, I would always make a joke about it. It's like, thank God you guys have this, because I was running out. I was making a pot of meth, and I was just lacking this ingredient.
Right. So
Anyway, getting back, it required a doctor's prescription to buy nasal decongestant that is used to make it. It was like someone turned off a switch. But where there is a void, he added, someone fills it.
Mm-hmm.
Although the number of domestic meth labs have declined, there is much more meth on the street today. Most people are using it, and more of them are dying.
Wow.
Now, at this point, and I hate to sound callous,
okay,
but if you're that far gone, do you really care if they're gone?
Herd thinning.
That's kind of where I was going with that.
Yeah, I'm with it.
Yeah.
Hurt thin that herd.
It's like, you know what? This is all on you. You started doing this. You put yourself to this point in your life to where you're just clinging to life.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think there's much we can do for you, pal.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, if you're that tied up into it, if you're 20, maybe. If you're our age, nah. If you're our age, please just do as much as you fucking can.
Yeah, just get it over with already.
Yeah, just do as much as you can and die.
Mm-hmm. Drugs go through cycles. In the 1980s and early 90s, the use of crack cocaine surged. In the early 2000s, meth made a debut. The decongestant in the drugstore products like Sudafed poured out of the domestic labs like those in the early seasons of the hit television show Breaking Bad. In 2005, Congress passed the Combat Methamphetamine Act, which put pseudoephedrine, I guess that behind the counter, which I'm talking about like Advil, cold and sinus, limited sales to 7.5 grams per customers in a 30-day period, and required pharmacies to track the sales.
Wow.
Although some meth makers tried smurfing, that is, sending emissaries to several stores to make purchases, meth cases plummeted.
Wow.
So when they put that shit behind the counter, you know, people decided, I can't make this anymore.
All right, so they go and make something else.
Yeah. States like Oregon and Mississippi require a prescription, making smurfing almost impossible. And a new epidemic took hold, a prescription painkiller and opiates like heroin.
Okay.
With no more meth lab explosions on the nightly news, the public forgot about the drug. But meth, it turns out, was only on hiatus. When the ingredients became difficult to come by in the United States, Mexican drug cartels stepped in.
Of course they did.
Now fighting meth often means seizing large quantities of ready-made product in highway stops.
Wow.
The cartels have been inundated the market with so much pure, low-cost meth that dealers have more of it than they know what to do with.
Maybe they traded. Maybe they used meth to pay for the guns that Eric Holder gave them.
Probably
did.
Yeah. Under pressure from the traffickers to unload large quantities, law enforcement officials say dealers are even offering meth to customers on credit.
Wow.
In Portland, the drug has made inroads in black neighborhoods. Why is that?
I don't know. I don't know.
Something experienced narcotic investigators say was unheard of 5 years ago.
Why? Because black people didn't do meth 5 years ago?
I guess. I don't know.
They do now?
I have been involved in meth for the last 25 years. A wholesale plummet of the price per pound combined with a huge increase of purity tells me they have perfected the production or manufacturing of methamphetamine. Said Steve Bell, a spokesman for the Drug Enforcement Administration. They had figured out the chemical reactions to get the best bang for the buck.
Wow.
Nearly 100% pure and about $5 a hit. The new meth is all the more difficult for users to resist. We're seeing a lot of longtime addicts who use crack cocaine switch to meth.
Yeah.
You ask,
a lot cheaper.
Yeah. You ask them about it and they'll say, hey, it's half the price and it's good quality too.
Mm-hmm.
In Oregon, 232 people died from meth use in 2016. Nearly twice as many died from heroin. And 3 times as many died from meth 10 years before, according to the State Department of Health. Between 2011 and 2015, Meth arrests were the only type of drug arrest in Portland to increase, and meth has the highest correlation with serious crimes. More than 1 in 5 burglars and nearly 40% of car thieves were also charged with meth crimes, according to the Portland police.
Wow.
Heroin is a depressant. It shuts you down, and you're not capable of doing a whole lot. Meth is a stimulant. Tweakers are jacked up. They have lowered inhibitions and are awake 24/7, running around at night, so burglaries become easier.
Right.
They're like the zombies on The Walking Dead.
Right.
Eric, the former dancer who asked that his last name not be published, said he now works as a professional booster.
Mm-hmm.
Pawn shops gave him a laundry list of coveted items, and he goes out and he steals them, getting 50 cents on a dollar.
Wow.
The cartels efficiently has flooded the market far beyond Oregon. In 2016, custom authorities in San Diego seized 21,747 pounds of meth, almost 10 times what was apprehended in 2007.
That's a lot of meth.
That is a lot of meth. That's 10 tons. Almost 11 tons.
That would be a lot.
11 tons of meth.
Mm.
At border points in Arizona, California, and Texas, agents seized 24 times as much.
Oof.
In Montana, meth violations more than tripled between 2010 and 2015. In drug-related deaths in Oklahoma, meth is far number one. In Hawaii, where meth was first introduced in the United States, the number of people over 50 who said meth was their drug of choice has doubled in 5 years. In South Dakota, the Attorney General has proclaimed an epidemic. Meth is carried across the border by people on foot or hidden in cars and trucks. It can be converted to liquid. It can be smuggled in iced tea bottles, disguised as horse shampoo, and hidden in tortillas.
Now that's clearly stolen from Breaking Bad.
Yeah.
Remember when he did the tortilla thing?
Yeah. The ingredient initially used to make it, ephedrine, was first synthesized in 1887 and later used to treat asthma. It was often used in the military by truckers who needed to stay awake. For decades, U.S. lawmakers have been trying to curtail its use, but each time an ingredient was outlawed, something else took its place.
Mm-hmm.
In 2007, Mexico cracked down on pseudoephedrine. The cartels reverted to using phenyl-2-propanone, Propanone,
okay,
known as P2P, a method popularized by biker gangs in the 70s.
Okay.
Although it too is restricted and monitored, there are many ways to manufacture it. Public health experts say little is being done to combat the surge of meth because it has been so overshadowed by opiates. And there are fewer tools to combat meth than to combat opioids. There is nothing like naloxone, which can reverse opioid overdoses, or methadone, which can stem opioid cravings. Dr. Paul Lewis, a public health officer for the Portland Metro Police, said the problem was complicated because many users take both of the drugs.
So what they're saying is it's a drug without a cure.
Yeah, more or less.
Ugh. Yeah, smart.
We need to think about substance abuse much broadly, Lewis said. 80 to 90% of heroin users are also using meth. It deserves more attention.
Yeah, well, it doesn't really deserve more attention. Just get rid of them.
Yeah.
Just use it till you're done.
Yeah, what do you, just, this is your life now. Just ride it out for all it's worth.
If it's $5 a hit, buy about $100 and do it all at once. And just be done with it, please. It's just wasting time. God. These pictures are hilarious.
Wow, look at that.
Yeah, no mouth. That's something.
Jeez.